Yes. So, good evening and namaskar. On the behalf of Department of Physics and Astronomical Sciences, I extend a warm welcome to our chief guest, Dr. V.K Saraswat, Padma Bhushan, member of Niti Aayog and ex-chief scientific advisor, Ministry of Defence, Government of India. I also welcome Professor Sanjeev Jain, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Central University of Jammu, for his motivational support that enormously inspired the entire team for the successful organization of this distinguished lecture series. I also welcome Professor Devanand, Dean, School of Basic and Applied Sciences, our Registrar, Professor Yashwant Singh, Dr. Suram Singh, Head Department of Physics and Astronomical Sciences, Deans of various schools, Head of Departments, my fellow colleagues, and all my dear students who grace this function with their presence. It is indeed the dream coming true for all of us that we have remembered personality among us and we have an opportunity to listen him for his vision about the theme of the lecture, that is science and technology for economic growth and sustainable development. Before starting, I would request on the dice and off the dice to rise for national anthem.
जनगण अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाए तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे भारत माता की जय।
Now, I would like to request Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir to welcome the chief guest with a bouquet. Thank you, sir. So now I request all dignitaries for the lamp lighting ceremony.
सुखं कुरु त्वं कल्याणं आरोग्यं धनसम्पदं शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते सुखं कुरु त्वं कल्याणं आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
Thank you, sir. Now I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, for his welcome address.
इस मंच पर आसीन डॉक्टर V.K सारस्वत जी, मेंबर नीति आयोग गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया, प्रोफेसर देवानंद, प्रोफेसर यशवंत और इस सभा में उपस्थित समस्त बंधुगण, आज वाकई में एक बहुत बड़ा दिन है जब हम हमारे देश के महान वैज्ञानिक जिन्होंने एक बहुत बड़ा योगदान दिया है ब्रह्मोस मिसाइल के लिए, वो आज जो है हमारे बीच में उपस्थित है। मैं सबसे पहले उनका स्वागत करता हूं और उनको धन्यवाद देता हूं कि उन्होंने हमारा आमंत्रण स्वीकार किया और इस मंच को सुशोभित किया। जहां तक आदरणीय सरस्वत जी की बात है, मैं उनको काफी सालों से जानता हूं और मुझे निरंतर उनका जो है गाइडेंस जब भी मुझे जरूरत होती है मिलता रहता है। जब आप उनको सुनेंगे साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी के बारे में, तब आप समझेंगे कि नीति आयोग किस तरीके से जो है साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी के लिए काम कर रहा है। और जहां तक मैं बात करूं सारस्वत जी की, तो उन्होंने काफी सारे ऐसे प्रोजेक्ट्स किए हैं और काफी नीति आयोग में काफी दिनों से वो कार्यरत हैं एज ए मेंबर नीति आयोग, और वो प्रधानमंत्री के साथ मिलकर काफी योजनाओं में देश के लिए काम किया। वाकई में हमें बहुत गौरव की बात है। जहां तक हमारे इंस्टीट्यूशन की बात है, हमारा इंस्टीट्यूशन भी काफी साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी में, खासकर स्पेस टेक्नोलॉजी में, ग्रीन एनर्जी में, और जो है डीआरडीओ के साथ मिलकर भी हम लोग एक प्रोजेक्ट काम कर रहे हैं। और यहाँ पर हमारा एक डीआरडीओ का सेंटर भी है। इस बात को बताने में भी मुझे बहुत खुशी है। और हमारे यहाँ भी जो हमारे छात्र हैं, खासकर रिसर्च में काफी अच्छा योगदान कर रहे हैं। उनका पब्लिकेशन भी बहुत अच्छा है। फैकल्टी के पास काफी अच्छे प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं जो राष्ट्रीय व अंतर्राष्ट्रीय लेवल पे जो उनका पब्लिकेशन है वो काफी एक्सेप्टेबल है। इन्हीं बातों को कहकर मैं अपनी बातों को विराम देता हूं, क्योंकि हम सब लोग जो है सारस्वत जी को सुनना चाहते हैं। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, sir. Before inviting sir, let me introduce a brief about the Dr. V.K Saraswat sir for his achievement. Dr. V.K Saraswat is an eminent scientist and technologist who currently serves as the member of National Institute for Transforming India, that is Niti Aayog, which is a premium policy think tank of Government of India. He has made significant contribution to India's defense and aerospace sector. He has worked as a chief scientific advisor to the Ministry of Defense, Government of India, and also served as a Director General of Defense Research and Development Organization (DRDO) from 2007 to 2013. During his tenure at DRDO, he led the development of several important defense technologies, which includes the ballistic missile defense program, which aim to protect India against missile attacks from enemy nations. Dr. Saraswat has also been a key figure in the development of the BrahMos supersonic cruise missile, which is jointly developed by India and Russia. Dr. Saraswat is a recipient of several prestigious awards, including Padma Shri and Padma Bhushan, which are among the highest civilian honors in India. He has also been recognized with the Lifetime Achievement Award by Indian Science Association, Congress, and the National Design Award by the National Design and Research Forum. Dr. Saraswat's contribution to the field of defense and technology has been immense, and his expertise is highly valued by the Indian government and the scientific community. So let us clap and welcome Dr. V.K Saraswat for his lecture. Next slide.
ये कंप्यूटर लगाना चाहिए वहाँ लगा नहीं उस पर मेरी स्लाइड में लगा दूँ मैं चेंज भी करता हूँ सीट पे सीट खाली कंप्यूटर का उस पर नोट करना मैं लेके नहीं आया नहीं नॉर्मली एक कैरी में आईपैड यहाँ मिल जाएगा क्या होगा यहाँ पे लगा दिया
आप स्लाइड्स में वहीं से चेंज करते हो
मैं करता रहूँगा आपने लोड कर लिया ना
यस
मेरा मुझे दे दो इस पर पेन डालना
कब कैसे ले मैं कर दिया ना चेंज करते हैं नहीं आप यहाँ से चेंज करना मुझे क्या बताइए हम नेक्स्ट क्या करेंगे हाँ वीडियो को मुझे इशारा करना मैं करूँगा
गुड इवनिंग नमस्कार my dear very close friend associate and almost a younger brother Dr. Sanjeev Jain Dr. Devanand Dr. Professor Suram Singh Professor Jashan Singh all the esteemed faculty members of Jammu Central University staff students it's an honor and privilege to be part of the distinguished series lecture series of this prestigious university. It is one of those coincidences, I would say, that when I was talking to him that I'm planning to come to Jammu for many other activities. I would like to come and visit Central University. And Dr. Jain said that why not you address our team? So I was wondering what should be my topic. The topic which has been my patient subject these days, being member of science and technology, energy, transport, tourism, industry, variety of areas which I look after. I thought it would be worthwhile talking about science and technology for economic growth and sustainable development. The whole idea is to give you a picture of how SNT is transforming today and what is expected of us. I'm using the word us because it's a scientific community which has to make the transformation. If we do the change, if we are in a position to carry out major transformations in our style of innovation and research, then certainly we'll be fulfilling the dreams of our Honorable Prime Minister and also making our country proud. So, the topic itself is very clear that SNT has to play a major role, and that role is basically with respect to how science and society are interlinked. All of you know that science is a tool for society's problem solving, and the motivation is basically to advance the human understanding of the universe. I understand that you guys are all working in space sciences, astronomy, and so you are already contributing in this area. Also to improve lives, health, and freedom of all. Now these are two segments. One is understanding of the universe, another is what is physical to all of us. And first one becomes the basic research, and the second one becomes the applied research. And when we combine the two, it becomes what we call use-inspired basic research. In fact, Dr. Chidambaram, one of my gurus, he used to say that it is directed basic research. He used to call that.
So science has to be in lead with the majority of our society, and we have to make investment with respect to policy, its utilization of available resources, and sustainable development. They all form a triad actually and become the foundation for transforming our nation into a knowledge-based society. All of you have been contributing to what the knowledge-based society is and is going to do. So there are three perspectives when you try to link science with action. Number one is the scientific perspective, the technological perspective, and the ecological and economic perspective. These three, when they combine, you form what is called the science technology for society. And the input from all these perspectives are responsible for giving you the data for decision making. And that translates into action. That is how the system works. In other words, science is the principal driver of change. Science is basically, if you take social change, what you have seen in the last about 25 years, 30 years, the way internet can change the society. The environmental change, all of you are struggling today to understand the environment. This morning, everybody was telling Jammu has been having summer too early. In Delhi, we were saying that we had very little winter. In Hyderabad, we were saying that we had no winter at all. And some places there was too much of rain even when it was not expected. We are always saying this climate changes which is happening due to environment. Health and medical change, we have just come out of COVID and now we are into H3N2. So this is a variety. What used to be once upon a time the major focus as far as bacterial diseases are concerned is all getting into viral diseases. So health transformation. And then national security. You live in a place, J&K, I know, you are the frontier, you are the border, and say national security is everyday kind of a food for you. So some people use it for producing mass weapons of mass destruction, and some people use it for making use for the peaceful purposes. So science has got many connotations. It's up to us how to use it and how to make it happen. Before we go into details of what we have achieved actually in the last 60 to 75 years post-independence. Before independence, we were under British rule and then we had scientific institutions. Of course, we had people like C.V. Raman and Homi Bhabha started work even during the pre-independence. But I would like to give you a perspective of what happened after the independence, because there have been tremendous growth of scientific institutions in the country post-independence. And that growth is, today our country produce great visionaries. Actually, the vision of our first Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, which gave birth to the modern India through the science and technology. That is what was his vision. He strongly believed that it is only science and technology that can bring prosperity in our country and alleviate hunger and poverty, which was the looming thing post-independence. His vision was converted into action by Shri Homi Bhabha, who pioneered nuclear energy program and created world-class institutions like TIFR and ITCAR and so on. Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, who laid the foundation for the space research, and today you know ISRO is one of the finest organizations what we have in the country, which has been successful in doing many missions, going to Moon and Mars and launching multiple satellites in single launch and so on. Dr. Swaminathan, the great father of Green Revolution, he has enabled that we are today well fed and today provided food security to an ever increasing population. Dr. Kurian, the vanguard of White Revolution, enabled India to be reckoned as the largest producer of milk and dairy products. Dr. Kalam, again my guru and one of my guide and philosopher, the propellant of a developed India, provided strategic security to our country for developing and producing number of missiles despite missile technology control regimes. Friends, all this could be done because the thrust of the nation was in creating an ecosystem for science and technology development by setting up world-class institutions like BRC, IIT, CIFR, CSR, labs, IGCAR, ICMR, DRDO, Space, IIT, NIT, Central Universities, industrial units for skill, energy, textiles, pharmaceuticals, defense, consumer goods, and whatnot. All this has brought India today into League of Nations, where our economy is growing almost at about 6 to 7% per year. And today, world is looking at us almost with hope and willing to invest through the foreign direct investment in different programs. This is a wondrous opportunity for all of us, particularly with 450 million young dynamic people surging with energy to transform India into a developed nation. I don't know how many of you had read the book Vision 2020 by Dr. Kalam. Can you raise your hands? Yeah, good number, not bad. Vision 2020 actually covered almost everything what this country needed. And the book was written between 95 and 98, if I'm not wrong, released sometime in 98. After that, he wrote the book, what is Beyond 2020. I think that was before him. Just after that, he expired. That book very clearly illustrates the need for us to take certain steps in developing various technologies, both basic, through the basic and applied research, for the economic development of the nation, whether it was petroleum and natural gas, whether it was energy, whether it was food, materials, anything you name, everything was covered in that. Defense, space, everything was there. His perspective was shown in this slide, which we prepared for him sometime in early 2000. This slide is as old as about. Now I upgraded it sometime in 2050, but it was constructed sometime in 2004 or 2005. You see, from 1970 onwards, when Green Revolution came, then White Revolution came in 1980. Then, of course, we have energy programs which came, wind energy, solar power, and nuclear power, and second Green Revolution is on that way. In the areas of technologies, space and defense, you see the large number of missiles which got built, Prithvi, Agni, and BrahMos, and so on. LCA got built, and then we have a series of launch vehicles, PSLV, GSLV, Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3, and hyperplanes. And today we are all talking of going to mission to Mars, hypersonic missiles. And in terms of computational capabilities, we started with our gigaflop computer. So today, I'm personally looking at a program which is producing petaflop computers. So this is the kind of growth in computation. Same in the case of communication. Today we have 5G already entered, 6G is on the anvil. What used to be once upon a time a Rex or some kind of a small telephone with mechanical systems, and going to C-dot, which started giving us some kind of communication which was based upon PCA and things like that. So that has today transformed completely, and we are now getting into an area where we are one of the largest producers of vaccines and pharmaceuticals. We have IT and advanced services which are running in the region of $110 to $120 billion, and computers which are going into petaflop region. Missiles and other defense equipments, our self-reliance has gone up to 70%. Only about 30 to 35% we are dependent on import. So there has been significant growth. Steel production, textile production, copper production, zinc production. You see, everything is now indigenously available, and we are able to actually run our economy with the kind of work which has been done in the last 75 years. What is the need of the art? Despite that, we have certain anomalies. What are those anomalies? 300 million rural Indians live below the poverty line. We have 830 million people, which is 2/3 of the population, live in villages. Contribution of agriculture to our GDP is only 14 to 15%. And our farmers are hungry despite food stocks of more than 260 million tons. 42% of our children under 5 are underweight and malnourished. Infant mortality is 44 children in 1,000, which is highest. India is facing urbanization at an unprecedented scale. 30 people walk into any city today from rural areas per minute. By 250, half of 2050, half of Indian population will be urban. That is the kind of challenge we have, is the need of the hour. For this challenge, our Honorable Prime Minister made certain announcements, and they are very important. He said technology a road for transformation. He said future will be shaped by those who invest in science innovation. He said in order to meet all the aspirations of one people, our Prime Minister said it is our scientific capabilities that will determine our ability to overcome challenges which lie ahead of us. In areas such as climate change, clean energy, environment-friendly technologies, water management, affordable healthcare, food security, and biotechnology solutions must be found in timely manner and then must move out of the laboratory quickly and find wider acceptance. Please focus on the last sentence that solutions must be found in timely manner and then must move out of laboratory quickly and find wider acceptance. That means translational research and going into innovation, incubation, and commercializing the products what we have. And that is where I always urge all the universities. Today I was in IIT Jammu discussing only this aspect. What we need to do so that we can fulfill this particular last sentence. The curriculum, the approach, the way we train our students, the way we give them projects, the way we do research, the entire thing needs transformation. It should be focused on certain major gaps which we have to be filled up. So that I think is valid for your university also, and I think we need to do that in a big way. Now I want to discuss some aspects of sustainability because science and technology, you may do anything. Some of the challenges which I mentioned are related to sustainability. For example, the gap, the gap between have and have nots. For example, the climate. For example, the transportation pollution, and so on. So all this needs to be looked at, and hence S&T for sustainability becomes very important. While I showed you a large canvas of achievements of India and of course the globe also, because science and technology has spurred growth across the globe, but it has left a lot of negative impacts also. And what are those negative impacts? Toxins in food, air, and water, energy, rising demand of energy. Today, I remember when I joined Niti Aayog, our installed capacity was 265 gigawatts. Today we are 407 gigawatts. And we need 930 gigatons by 2030. This is the rate at which our demand for energy is going up. This is a sign of development, no doubt about it. But then it has impact on various aspects which we discussed. Depletion of non-renewable resources like petroleum, metals, and phosphorus. There is excessive demand for water for homes, agriculture, and industry. There is rising demand for land for housing. There is even rising number and size of landfills. Everywhere you see landfills again. Ecosystem damage and habitat loss due to pollution and impact on global climate. And this is a long list. This is not a small one, not the whole list, but I've given. So there's a need for sustainable development. Reason is number one, over-exploitation of natural resources. 1 million species on track for extinction because of that. And the decline of more than 60% of the world marine species is taking place. If you take climate change, increase in atmospheric temperature and extreme weather events, I mentioned to you what is happening. Friend, all these agreements which you have heard, COP 21, COP 15, COP 21, COP 36, and now COP 27. We have been aiming that we should bring down the temperature to 1.5 degrees above the pre-industrial era. If we go beyond that, then we are running into problems. And variety of actions are being discussed. We are right now at 1.1 or 1.2. In case if the predictions, all modeling which has been done, I don't know whether any energy modeling exercises are done in your university. All modeling that has been done, we are likely to cross this limit by 2047. If we continue to maintain the same kind of approach which we have followed so far. That's why all these exercises are leading to what we call as pathways for maintaining or keeping down the rising temperature. So that's a major issue. Scarcity of resources. Food production needs to double over the next 40 years at a time when almost 23% of the world's agriculture land has been degraded. Naturally, two-thirds of the world's population will be living in water-stressed area by 2025. Not far off. You know what is the position of India? We have only 4% of the freshwater reserves of the globe. We have 17% of our population of globe. 17% population of India is there of the globe. So you can imagine what is the mismatch. So we are going to be one of those countries who will be water starved. And if we are going to be water starved, then you can imagine what is going to happen. Water loss will take place. So there is a need for us to do science and technology for sustainability. The only way we can do it by bringing together science and development through research on nature-society interactions. We have to study that. I think many of you are studying space, you are studying, I think, astronomy. I think you must be also be environmental engineering or environmental sciences, if I am not wrong. I think more and more focus should be there. Concern for enlarging scientific capacity in developing countries and providing scientific support for local action. We have to look for science that is integrated. Natural and social science should be put together. Sectors of human activity should be brought upfront. Scholars and practitioners should follow this particular rule. Science that is fundamental scale, you have to take it to a larger scale. It is a non-linear process. No more it's a linear process. And complexity, the unity of nature and society has to be accomplished through this non-linear process. Science that is regional and place-based. One of the points which I advised, and I'm going to advise the same thing to Central University also. And our Honorable Prime Minister has been saying, we should be vocal for local. What is the meaning of it? It's not just a slogan. The important part is, if you take Jammu and Kashmir, what are the positive hotspots of Jammu and Kashmir? What are the negative hotspots? We need to look at all positive and negative and then work in that direction. That is where he says local. We should see if Jammu and Kashmir has got a lot of horticulture, food products and things like that. I should do engineering in such a manner that I will give them assistance through science and technology in improving that plot by doing right from production to food processing, the entire scale. I should do modeling, I should say climate resistance, how will I bring all those things. That should be my focus for Jammu and Kashmir. It could be tourism tomorrow. Jammu and Kashmir is another positive one. So like that, you have to work on those areas which are positive for Jammu and Kashmir. You may work for global issues also, but Indian issues are very important. The problem with our research has been we have never bothered about Indian issues. We have always bothered what the West has done. So we keep on doing the same thing. Publish papers based on that and things like that. If somebody has done a research there, I do some incremental work on that and publish another paper. That is no research. That has no meaning. We should solve India's problem. And that is where science becomes local. Science that is regional and place-based, that is important. Where people and ecosystems are, where a transition can happen, where integration takes place, where complexity is understandable. That is the way science has to be changed. Now, what are the touch points for the science sustainability? You all know that sustainability has three pillars: economic pillar, the ecological pillar, and the societal pillar. If you take the ecology improvement or ecological pillar, the touch points are digitization, biodiversity, alternative mobility concept, all of you are doing now e-vehicles and so on and so forth, durable products, alternative nutritional concepts, renewable energies, and alternative urban concepts. If you take the pillar of economy, the touch points are to improve the efficiency of any system. Maybe computer should be part of your complete ethos. Positive user experience you should provide. Innovative capability you should generate. You should improve quality of everything, whether it's product or process or living, everything has to be quality sensitive. Sustainability should be at the core of all your decision-making process. Customer loyalty should be part of that. If you take societal and general public, then education. NEP 2020 has come. I hope that we are really taking major steps for implementation of NEP 2020. Because it is after so many years of effort, I think 84 we had the last education policy, that we have NEP 2020, which is one of the finest documents that has been done. And I think if we implement in real honesty and integrity, it will certainly transform education and certainly bring us to the forefront as far as the knowledge is concerned. Human rights, equal opportunities, health protection, inclusion, ethical use of technologies. Again, you can use technologies for making weapons, you can use technologies for poisoning the water, or you can even use fertilizers and pesticides in such large quantities that the Punjab soil becomes the cancerous water source, and you have all the production going back and things like that. So we need to be very, very careful when we look at all these social issues. There are 6 technology transformations for achieving the sustainable development goals. Number 1 is digital revolution, which is what India is now going through. Artificial intelligence, big data, biotech, and nanotech, autonomous systems, and all coming in the way. The next one is smart cities, which are again major announcement by the government, where idea is for decent housing, mobility, sustainable infrastructure, pollution control, and so on. Next one is food, biosphere, and the water, which I mentioned in detail. Human capacity and demography. I already mentioned that education, health, aging, labor markets, gender inequality, they all become part of this. Consumption and production. Our main problem is that we are over consuming. Dr. Jain just now mentioned about tradition. India has deviated largely from the traditional values what we nourished for the last so many years. Due to 200 years of British rule, and now after post-independence, overexposure to the Western culture, which is leading to overconsumption. I'll give you my example. When I was a student, first time I was given a whole folder with a ink pen, with a nib and a ink pot. I used to write with. Then I was given a pen in which I can fill ink and I can write. Then came ballpoint. The ballpoint was, we will use the ballpoint. There used to be a refill. The ballpoint will cost 75 paisa. Refill will cost 4 anna. You know, the anna was there. 4 anna. We never threw the ballpoint. We bought the refill. We used to keep a bundle of refill and used to use it. Today, what we do? This pen is there, and ink is over, I throw the pen. This was the culture in those days when I was a student in US. Throw and use and throw. We have gone to this level. We are over consuming also. I have 25 shirts. My wife has maybe 200 sarees. I don't know what she does. She never uses it. After 10 years, she doesn't even know where the saree. This is the overconsumption. Don't you think this is all not required? If you are all going to do this, your textile mills will be running, your cotton will be taken out of this, your energy will be consumed. This is not economic growth. Economists call this as demand-driven economic growth. But this demand is disastrous because it is overconsumption, which is against sustainability. So this is the point which need to highlight. Decarbonization and energy access efficiency. I think you are working on that is very important area. Similarly, you take manufacturing processes. We were using earlier methods of traditional manufacturing. We'll take material, cut it into pieces, design the product. Then we came to lean manufacturing, where we were using reduction in waste. Then we came to green manufacturing, reducing energy consumption and so on. Environmental friendly, 3R concept. Then now sustainable manufacturing, which is innovative, and the concept is reduce, reuse, recycle, recover, redesign, and remanufacture. 6R concept. Everything which you have today. If this computer has got something, if it is not working today, first I'll repair it. If it has gone beyond repair, I'll take out everything from this. See what all I can use, reuse whatever is inside. All the chips I can use, power supply I can use, I can extract gold, platinum, this, that, and everything from this, and then make some new product, or maybe a better computer. Now, this is the way we do. No, we have millions of tons of electronic waste piled. Millions of tons. We are not recovering anything out of it. That should be avoided. So, the economic impact of this is important. And this economic impact will be certainly be a function of how best we can utilize the new technologies which are emerging today. What are the technologies? These are 25 technologies, not new to you. Many of you must be teaching in your class. Artificial intelligence, machine learning is a buzzword. Every child knows this today, but they don't understand, unfortunately. Then we have all these robots, 5G, digitally extended reality, VR, AR, genomics, digital platforms, all these 25 technologies, 3D, 4D, 5D, everything has got a major impact. What is the kind of transformation these things will do? For example, just the fusion of 5G, artificial intelligence, and Internet of Things will play a significant role in the transportation and logistics, which will enable AI-based driver assistance in traffic monitoring systems, self-driving vehicles, deliveries by unmanned vehicles already taking place, industrial operations where factory automation and remote control of industrial robots are taking place, remote inspections and maintenance is being done in the workplaces. Healthcare, we saw the use of IT during the COVID in a big way, and that has been extended in a big way now in all other sectors like remote diagnosis and medical operations, remote health monitoring and illness, and also AI and other things going into various fields of genomics, synthetic biology, and things like that. The last one is, of course, public safety and security, which is intelligent video surveillance and security systems, which is very important. Emergency services and border controls, emergency drones and robots. Again, these are all well-known topics for all of you. Same thing is going to happen in computing area. Quantum computing and application is known. And that is the major areas where it will be making a difference. And what will be the size of a quantum computer? You know, quantum computer is done by qubits. The qubit, for chemistry, you may need only about 100 to 200 qubits. For optimization, you may need about 1,000 qubits. For machine learning, maybe 1,000 qubits. But then material science and all that, much more. Maybe unknown problems, we may need more than 100,000 qubits. And applications, already we are doing application in cyber security, where we are doing what is called quantum key distribution. Anybody working in that area here? QKD? No. Drug development, financial modeling, better batteries, cleaner fertilization, traffic optimization, weather forecasting. All this will have major applications of quantum computing and quantum communication, quantum sensors, and quantum communication among the satellites, which is already developed by Chinese in a big way today. 12 disruptive technologies which will have enormous economic impact. I mentioned to you 6 only, and now you see what is the position. The figures given here are in trillions of dollars. And mobile internet can have the 2 ranges are given, the minimum and the maximum, an impact of about 3.7 to 10.8 trillion dollars. Automation about 5.2 to 6.7, Internet of Things 2.7. Like that, you see 3D printing, everything has got a huge impact as far as the economy is concerned. This is a global, this is not India, this is a global number which is likely to happen. And the impact, if we work for convergence of these disruptive technologies, then what will be the impact on society? Other than, of course, the economic value that we can achieve about 500 to 1,000 billion annual economic impact, which is 20 to 30% of India's incremental GDP from 2015 to 25. It can provide 400 million additional people with access to qualified healthcare. It can have 300 million financially included people. It can provide 14 to 24 million workers more years of education, achieve 15 to 60% yield improvement for 22 million farmers due to precision agriculture. Anybody working on precision agriculture? No, unfortunately, we should do that. Save about $50 to 50 to 95 billion dollars in technologies from energy technologies. Gain about 70 to 25 billion from intelligent transportation and create jobs for more than 10 million tech-enabled workers. That is the gain that will happen. You want to keep this talk for how much time? 5 minutes, 1 hour, 40 minutes. Now is okay. So we started 5 minutes. Okay. Then I'll touch a few things about energy because that's a very important point. So, you know, energy is very important. I mentioned to you about overconsumption and things like that. We have to ensure sustainable energy for humanity. And what is sustainable energy? It has 3 points. Energy access should be there to all. Energy should be produced in an efficient manner. Clean and affordable energy. That's the requirement. These 3 pillars have to be there. This is the kind of, sorry, I forgot to change the slide. This was the slide I talked about. That primary energy consumption by source, if you look at it, that I won't go into details of those graphs. I'm only going to give one sentence that fossil fuel, 82.9% today globally, and renewable energy and nuclear energy about 17%. Indian scenario is fossil fuel is about 90% and renewable energy is 9.8%. This is the number. And these are the details of global scenario in terms of percentage. I won't go into details of that. The major concern of the energy is today, if you want to produce, all of us are saying we have batteries. Batteries will solve all my problem. Fuel cell will solve my problem. Hydrogen will solve my problem. But have you ever thought that for doing all this, if I have to produce battery, where's the material? What is the material? All of you talk about lithium battery. Just see this figure. These 2 bars indicate what is the percentage increase in the requirement of material based upon production of 2020. For example, you take lithium, cobalt, and graphite are key ingredients of lithium-ion batteries for electric mobility and energy storage. You see the percentage rise, 506% extra. Oh, sorry. On my slide. So you see the percentage rise. Lithium requirement is 506% more. Cobalt is 460% more. Graphite for this will be needed about 41% more. But take the solar PV, which is our another, we think this is another elixir for us for energy, renewable energy. Solar PV will use 97% of indium due to copper, indium, gallium, selenide solar panels. And indium percentage increase would be 192%. Take vanadium, redox flow batteries. Are anybody working on redox flow batteries here? I think you have to see what areas you are working. I should come here one day and interact with you. Redox flow batteries are energy solution for storage, which needs vanadium 151%. You need iron, nickel, silver, and lead are key ingredients for lithium-ion batteries, electrolytes, and solar PV. They need more than 60%, and so on. Chromium, aluminium, steel alloys, titanium, iron, all of them are required in a huge percentage increase from 2020 value. Now that much extra material has to be produced, and that is a major challenge. These are the materials which are critical for energy transition. For example, solar energy, aluminium, germanium, nickel, tellurium, cadmium, indium, all that. For wind power, aluminium, iron, chromium, lead, zinc, and then of course you have electrical vehicles, which I mentioned to you already. The main problem is even the permanent magnets what we use in wind energy, we import. We don't have rare earths like neodymium and iron and boron. Iron, of course, we have, but we don't have Nd. So we import the whole thing. Dysprosium also we import. So you have, if you take today solar powers, whatever we are doing, our value addition is only 20%. 80% is import. If you take solar energy, our value addition is 25%. If you take electrical vehicles, as on today it is 90% import. Only 10% is what we are doing in India. So this is a very sad situation because we don't have these materials, we don't have these technologies, and we are building all our things. This is one area which will give you for the position on rare earths. Rare earths are needed for the wind energy. The dark curve here shows that if you do business as usual based on the historical growth rate, you will reach by 2030 about 300,000 tons. That would be the requirement. If you use the present wind energy and other electric vehicles, this requirement is going to create cross 500,000 tons by 2040. And we don't have. We have all among the world. China, of course, holds all the rare earth 38%. Then US, then we are, I think, holding only about 6%. India is globally among 3 to 4 countries having the capability to produce refined grain. So we don't have. What I am presenting this to is, friends, there is a huge amount of work to be done by material scientists to find alternate materials or these materials from our geological resources, convert them to the processes if you really want to do the good job as far as the system is concerned. Clean technology, minerals, you will see for per kg how much per megawatt will be needed. Offshore wind we need about 8,000 kgs per megawatt of copper and about 5,500 kgs per megawatt of zinc. Like that, these figures are indicative of huge quantities of these materials required if we have to meet all our clean energy requirements. And mind it, these materials also, when they are mined and processed, are not like pure or clean. They are responsible for also polluting the environment. So that is what is given here. Aluminium produces almost about 800 million tons of carbon dioxide equivalent when it is processed from the mining to the final product. Similarly, graphite, similarly, nickel, cobalt, copper. I think I have to be careful. Yeah, you can see this here. Aluminium, graphite, nickel, cobalt, copper, and lithium. What they are doing today. That you need cradle to grave approach through 2050 under 2-degree pathway. If you want to get that 2 degree and continue to use this, you have to reduce all these emissions. So India has worked out a clean transition strategy. This is very clearly that we'll go for clean coal technology. We'll go for carbon capture, utilization and storage. We'll go for methanol economy. We'll go for hydrogen, blue to green. We'll use small modular nuclear reactors. We'll increase our renewables both offshore and onshore. And mobility will be e-mobility, hydrogen and things like that. We'll go for storage of energy through the pumped hydro, or that they call water battery, and other energy storage devices. That is what has been actually identified by our country. I'll skip all this down. Just this number I would like to. All of us feel that hydrogen will be an access for us. How is hydrogen produced? Electrolysis of water. For 1 kg of hydrogen, we need about 53 to 54 units of electricity. And it needs materials in electrolyzers. We need nickel, cobalt, and iron-based catalysts, which are less expensive to be developed. Electrolyte materials like ionic liquid, solvent, ceramics, solid-state materials are developed. Membranes, which are used in the electrolyzers and the fuel cells, that's a Nafion membrane, which is manufactured by maybe 1 or 2 companies in the world. Only DuPont makes, and they don't give the technology to anybody. So there's a need for us to develop materials such as PBI, which is called a polybenzene midazole polymer. We have to put graphene oxide or polymers of intrinsic microporosity. All this is important. Similarly, if we are to go for high efficiency solid oxide electrolyzers, then we have to really look at nickel lanthanum based electrodes, ceramic electrolytes, and so on, because it operates at high temperature. So, friends, what I'm trying to say that the answer lies in developing good materials for all this. Small modular nuclear reactor is the answer. Why this is the answer? Because all the renewables have got intermittence. They work for 6 hours, 5 hours, 7 hours. For sustained power and also to meet the demand fluctuations, night time you have some demand, daytime you have some demand, but demand fluctuation. There is a need for us to have a stable source of power which can provide base power. So nuclear energy is understood to provide the base power. And for that, instead of going for large size nuclear plants, people are talking of small modular nuclear reactors, which will be in the region of 300 megawatts. 10 megawatts to about 300 megawatts. That's all. And it should be transportable like a diesel generator set, positioned in a location, should be done. But it also requires huge amount of materials. For example, if we have to make SMR, we need a fuel, metallic oxide and thorium-based fuels, which will play pivotal role from Indian perspective. We need coolants like heavy water, liquid metals, molten salts. We need materials for heat exchangers like liquid titanium alloys, ceramic matrix composites. We need structural materials for the construction like titanium alloys and composites. So there's a huge requirement. So this is in summary the material requirement for all areas: solar, wind, energy storage. This is I thought my purpose of showing this was that it will give you an area where all the research is required to be done for various energy areas. I just want to give you one very interesting episode about lithium. All of you talk about lithium, Lithium, now somebody has said that we have got lithium or 5.9 billion ton resource in Karnataka. Lithium is one of the key components in EVs, but global supplies are under strain because of the rising EV demand. How much a single electric car contains? It contains about 8 kilograms of lithium. The world could face lithium shortage by 2025. The International Energy Agency says the Credit Suisse thinks that demand could treble between 2020 to 2025, meaning supply would be stretched. Worldwide reserves stand at about 22 million tons only. About 2 billion EVs need to be on the road by 2050. Global reserves are sufficient to produce just under 2.5 billion, if not more than that. So you can imagine, if you continue only with lithium, you have a problem. So the answer lies in going for sodium ion, sodium sulfur, and iron air, aluminum air. Many new chemistries are there. Hence, research has to be done in these areas. I am now cutting short and coming to another area which is coming, and I don't know whether you are again working. Anybody working in robotics or machine to machine communication?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Working?
Yes.
Somebody is working. You know, industrial revolution has changed. 1, 2, 3, 4. Today we are in the 4th industrial revolution, where automation, hyper-connected society, professional O2O convergence is taking place. And it requires different technologies altogether. And what are those technologies? These are those 9 pillars. Autonomous robots, big data, supply chain, additive manufacturing, cloud, cyber security, horizontal vertical integration. These are 9 pillars of technologies that are needed. And all these technologies require digital skills and cross-domain expertise to become a game changer. We cannot do it unless we have those expertise. For this, the education has to be aligned with Industry 4.0. This is the point which I wanted to stress upon as far as the university is concerned. For example, today industry needs a flexible production line. The education should be tailor-made towards the learning path. Online quality control is what is required as far as the industry is concerned. We need a formative assessment of that. Workers monitor automation in the industry. Teachers should become mentors. That is what an alignment is there. Custom products, divergence and feudalism cannot be customized. Here there is a difference. System engineering approach is what is needed. Here education is not just a subject, it is a goal. That is what we have to do. Long life learning, continuous teachers training. That is what is important as far as these things are concerned. And friends, this is a race between technology and education. The two curves which are shown here, the blue ones are past and the present technology one, and the dotted ones are the future technology. The yellow ones are past and present education, and dotted ones are the future education. The message which you want to give here is that if you see the two curves, they are normally in unison, technology and education. But the moment you find that the technology has gone above the education, then it becomes a social pain. And if you take the other way, when it crosses, that means the education has taken over the technology part, then you get prosperity. That means you are more educated, you can solve all the problems. And that is where the prosperity comes. In present, that is the situation. We are trying to go through education and technology. A race is there. So future education through NEP 2020 is going to the dotted curve up, and future technology is going to maintain a slope down. So social play, still there will be a social pain. But if we can maintain the curve as we are talking of, transformative change as we are talking of, we will be able to reduce the social pain into prosperity. And that is what we expect your universities to do. Mechatronics and multidisciplinary education system is a must for Industry 4.0. Education for sustainable development is important. Key competencies which are required are system thinking, anticipatory, normative, critical thinking. Key competencies, collaboration and self-awareness. Key competencies, strategic integrated problems in the behavioral domain. So there are ESD domain, cognitive domain, socio-economic domain, socio-emotional domain, and the behavioral domain, which requires all these qualities. What is expected from university? Instill 4 C's into students: communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity. Make programs and ICT education a compulsory subject. Develop educational content in collaboration with industry. Reform content and the methodology of education via digital. Have top people resources to lead global industry engagement. Create new business trends through reform of higher education. And Industry 4.0, government, industry, university research, all have to come together. So the focus should be on design and make in India, agriculture productivity, development of Internet and everything, education 4.0, creation of export, clean and efficiency energy systems, efficient transportation logistics. These are the various areas which are prioritized by the country today. So key message is the world needs a rapid global transformation to new development paradigm, human prosperity within the state operating space in the earth. This new Anthropocene logic places sustainability at the forefront of all development. The challenge, global revolutions on food and energy, new approaches to urban development, transport, circular economic development, global governance. Science and technology can and must play a key role in developing integrated system solutions for world prosperity within Earth's system of systems. Planetary challenge requires global networks of scientific collaboration, which is very important. And this is the last message which our Prime Minister has been saying. I just slightly modified it and gave it for all. Friends, India has got all the ingredients and potential required for innovation. Let us convert this potential into realized reality by establishing a strong academia, industry, and national R&D lab collaboration. I'll go a step ahead by giving a clarion call to all of you in this hall to participate and contribute. India not only to innovate, but to out-innovate and out-educate and outperform the rest of the world to gain the top position in the world. This is what our Prime Minister said. I have only modified. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your thoughts and for your inspiring words.
Questions? Or we'll take 5 questions. Thank you, sir. तो मैं बैठ के बोलूं या खड़े होकर आप बोलेंगे? हाँ जी।
चलिए बोलिए। हाँ फ्रेंड, बैक बेंचर, आपकी आवाज सुनाई नहीं पड़ रही है मुझे।
Namaste, sir.
नमस्कार।
Sir, as you mentioned in your presentation that precision agriculture and agricultural productivity, I have been working on agriculture policy since 6 years, and I understand that there is a difference between agriculture policy and farmers policy, and our focus is on improving agriculture productivity. But there are some areas in the agriculture. I identify near about 5 areas. For example, youth in agriculture, women in agriculture, age-old people in agriculture, underage population in agriculture, and landless labor. Then, is there any plan of a Niti Aayog to working on such important sections in the agriculture field by which our farmer becomes more competent and improve the quality of agriculture? Sir?
First of all, India's agriculture policy is with farmer at the center. So please don't say that they are two different things. Their policy is different, farmer is different, farmer's interest is different. India's agriculture policy is always centered around farmers' well-being and growth. And particularly in the last 8 years with this government, we have been very, very clear on that part. No wonder today what we are doing in terms of supporting landless farmers, small farmers, bringing schemes where we can make the life of small farmers much better. All these schemes which we have heard from the government of India, whether they are Jan Dhan Yojana, whether they are free pesticides, free fertilizers, and all those, they are basically for the well-being of the farmer. Plus, also in certain sectors where we find that the farmer can be benefited better than what it is being done today. For example, and one sector I'll name here is, take for example, sugar. We are producing so much sugar that we don't know what to do with that. And we are not able to export it because the cost of our sugar is more than that of the imported sugar. But we have a good produce. लोग गन्ना उगाते जाते हैं. Diversification people are not doing. So as a result, what we have done, we have found the use of sugar for energy. So today we are converting, we have given assurance to the farmer that you convert your sugarcane into ethanol, and we will procure at certain price which is acceptable to them the entire ethanol what they are producing. So there is a interest of the farmer, there is a need for energy which is there, clean energy, both are being met today. When I mentioned precision farming, it was basically again for farmer in mind. For example, if you take it today a small farmer, if he has got just 1 acre of land, and the means which he is going to use today, the productivity will be not so much that he can survive himself. Forget about selling it in the market. So what we are saying is that you use technology of precision farming, which has multiple advantages, both in terms of labor intensity, both in terms of productivity, and also we are going to provide them the know-how for all the skills which are needed for doing precision farming. We are working on science and technology for precision farming based upon nano fertilizers, nano pesticides, and things like that. We are telling them what are the various irrigation methods like drip irrigation and things like that. So all of them are towards farmers' well-being. Technology is also for farmers' well-being. In the process, productivity is also increasing. That is the whole purpose. So there is a tendency, what you are saying is that the farmer's son does not want to become a farmer. Reason is very simple. Because last so many years, we have never taken care of what the farmer is suffering from. He finds that if there are 5 sons or children with a farmer today, he finds that all 5, if they have their livelihood based upon the land, they cannot survive. So what happens? 3 of them or 4 of them will go to the cities for other jobs, and only one person or the father alone would be doing the farming. Now that is what will reduce if we are going to have. Second thing is, there is a certain amount of honor which is related to the farm. Once it becomes into the precision farming mode, high-tech mode, he will feel elated. He will be like a blue-collared person. After all, what does a farmer's son do when he comes to Bombay or Delhi or Chennai or Bangalore or something? What does he do? He doesn't have any skills. He goes and becomes a watchman or a driver or maybe a hygiene worker or something in a hospital or something. And earns what? Barely anything. So we want to avoid that by creating similar amenities what he is getting in this, and better industrial infrastructure, better farming tools to the precision, all that is part of the policy what we have. So landless, small farmers who are not in a position, we are trying to give them skills in non-farming sector, but keeping them within the rural areas. Okay. I gave you so much. I cut down a lot of material. I found nobody was showing interest, so I cut down the material.
Thank you, sir, for a nice talk. Sir, one of my fundamental concern in the material science is that fundamental research in material science is somewhere missing in the Indian R&D, and fundamental academics is also missing in Indian academics. So, is there any plan like plan for material mission or like nano mission for the material science for new material development? Because as you know, material science is an important part of the sustainable development. It was never focused in Indian academia and R&D as like nano mission. So, is this any
First of all, you tell me, because you are talking nano mission management.
Yeah.
Can you identify 10 performance indicators for nano mission on which the India's nano mission has been a great success?
Sir,
Because you are saying nano mission,
not
that's
ten-
answer.
not ten,
You
sir.
seem to be having a view that nano mission is a great success. We have
No,
developed
no,
fantastic nanotechnologies which are pervasive all over. That is the message I am getting. So we should follow the same thing for material science.
No, sir. Nano mission, of course, it have a lot of drawback, but on basis of the nano mission, Indian Institute got lot of infrastructure in terms of scientific instruments.
And what is the output of that?
But output is very much missing.
That is the list.
Very much missing. Yes.
Infrastructure development gives you what is called temporary employment and some facilities.
Yes.
But if the facility is not all properly utilized
Yes.
for doing what is you taught fundamental research or basic research,
Yes.
then those facilities are of no use.
Yes, sir.
I know there will be at least every institution I go, atomic force microscope, this telescope, that confocal microscope,
Yeah,
everything is there.
Everything is there.
But
But
you
fundamental
tell me
research is missing.
one carbon nanofiber When I need it for my rocket motor casing, I don't have it in this country, I import. A nano mission was launched in 2004.
Yes, sir.
So where is the basic science all of you are doing?
But sir, basic science is right now missing in India.
So my problem with the Indian science is follows. आप बैठिए मैं आपको बताता हूँ. मैंने बीच में एक छोटा सा सेंटेंस बोला था. We have been looking at West, and whatever West does, we do 10% increment on that, and we publish papers based on that. You think that is research? It is called additive and repetitive research. Additive and repetitive research does not yield anything except glory for you. I have published 400 papers in the XYZ journal with UVW impact factor. And you will write in your CV, and all of us sitting there in the interview board will say, very good scientist, promote him.
Yes.
What country came? Sir, you tell me in metallurgy has been subject last 75 years. I know when I was a student, metallurgy used to be there. One alloy which India has developed of its own. Name one alloy. No, you don't have. Name one chemical. Ethanol is known from David Volta's days. Yeah, we drink a lot of it. No, point is, the metallurgy, what we are talking about, the materials require both research. That's why my first slide was very important. Unless you do basic research and directed basic research, you cannot produce goods. Otherwise, you will produce only papers. And papers do not produce goods. Paper knowledge is important, but that has to be converted into a product. So when you make a alloy or you understand the basics of when iron combines with nickel, some bonding takes place, some iron carbon diagram, something happens, and so on and so forth. You say something, we are not able to recall all the metallurgy of my second year engineering, but carbon group, but after that what? Austenite steel, magnetic steel, उसने बनाया, हमने कुछ नहीं किया, हम पढ़ते जा रहे हैं उसको. अब मैं चाहता हूं कि आप एक ऐसी स्टील बनाएं जो हमारी हाइड्रोजन है, और वो जो हमारी गैस की पाइपलाइन जा रही है आज, वो गैस पाइपलाइन में अगर मैं हाइड्रोजन भेजूं तो वो काम करे, मेरे को नई पाइपलाइन भेजने की जरूरत ना पड़े, खाली एक उसके ऊपर एक्स्ट्रा लेयर में डाल दूं, so that it becomes less corrosive. Can you take a project like that and develop and come? I want a metallurgist of that class. I am looking for people who will take India's problems and find solutions through their knowledge of 400 papers and impact factors. No, nobody is ready to do.
Very interested more in applied. He's not saying that basic should not be there.
Basic is important, very important.
Applied is ultimately applied.
But basic to be done to apply. This question I had asked once to Professor C.N.R. Rao also. He had no answer. Anybody else? Yeah.
First of all, very good evening to you, sir, and we all are humbled to have your deliberation today. My question is actually based on, sir, two areas. I come from a tourism background. So you touched upon science and technology. So there is another T, which actually is another paradigm, that is tourism industry. When we talk about sustainability, so basically we talk about, say, creating inter and intra-generational equity based on basically triple bottom line, that is people, planet, and profits. So, my only request to you is that how Niti Aayog is actually complementing this tourism and science and technology and shaping up India as one of the leading tourism destinations.
Niti Aayog has given all inputs for the tourism policy, and that's why the tourism policy framework that came out in 2019, if I'm not wrong, tourism policy, which clearly talks about sustainable tourism. It talks about tourism based upon sustainability. If you follow that, all the problems of PPP or whatever you were talked about will be solved. Tourism is important, but tourism cannot be done in such a manner that only one P becomes the motive, that is profit. Planet is forgotten, people are forgotten. Today's tourism is that. For example, I was going to Western Delhi this morning. No? No. So many cars are going up, buses are going up. What is the idea? Such a hill, serene hill, green hill. We all talk of e-mobility, we talk of clean fuels. Why are we not adopting to that? Still horses are being used for taking people. Why? Why manual labor? Why man is not looked after? Why don't you give him a golf cart? Why don't you give him a golf cart so that he takes the pilgrims to the location and also earns his bread? It's purely non-compliance of the basics. When implementation of the policy is being done by the concerned people, there is a big gap. Policy is good. Sustainable policy we have clearly defined. Policy for biodiversity we have defined. For the tourism for biodiversity, tourism for eco tourism we have defined. We have defined all that. You see the 2019 paper, which was because I was so much worried about. I have seen Shimla, which is completely congested, running out of water, no drainage, thousands of people, pollution of Shimla. Have you seen that? You go to Dharamshala, everywhere is stink. I have seen Dharamshala of 1965. It used to be such a serene place. What have we done to that city? Same Dehradun. So there are issues which we are ignoring while implementing the policies. Policies are as good as they are implemented, and implementation is as good as the people who implement it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for the wonderful talk, and it was very innovative for me as a faculty and a student of social sciences. But my concern is that when we talk about science and technology for economic growth and sustainable development, somewhere down the line, the haves and have-nots, the gaps have been increasing, if we see that. And I just want to understand from that perspective that how we are going to cater to the needs of the have-nots through science and technology, because once we are going towards the economic development and economic growth, they're not finding that the have-nots, the benefits of it are going to the have-nots. And also my concern is how can people in the social sciences and humanities be pushed in or bridge the gap so that this idea of science and technology for economic growth and sustainable development will be achieved and reached up to its desired goal. Because I think in this whole talk, the very discipline of humanities and social science is missing. And ultimately, we are all humans, I consider that. And whatever we are doing, science and technology is doing, is for the humans only. So I think, where are we chipping in the humans in between this?
Sustainability, one of the fundamental rules of sustainability is, since you are a social scientist, I'm sure you must have done your homework on sustainability. Sustainability fundamental rule is inclusiveness. And today's government is very much working towards inclusiveness. And the whole effort of inclusiveness is to reduce the gap between have and have nots. Gender inequality, we are bringing it. We are looking for, we are taking care of that. We are taking care of the challenged people who are having problems. We are also taking care of people below poverty line by giving them support, 6,000 rupees, this, that, and all that direct. So there are efforts being made for reducing the gap, but this is a short-term solution. The long-term solution for reducing the gap and having inclusiveness as part of the economic and the social policy of the system, with science and technology, by the way, is nothing can be done without science and technology. No social science is good if there is no science and technology. Please understand. If I don't have
both are complementary.
If I don't have statistics, you cannot take the data and give me what you are doing.
Yeah, exactly. Both are complementary.
Both are complementary. So what is important here is we have to look at what are the indices which we have to take care of. India has major problems. Our human development index, we are very low. I don't remember the number now. I think 131 or something, if I'm not wrong, out of 180 nations. some of the other nations like Vietnam and all are better than us. So, with what is Human Development Index? Since you are a social scientist, you will be knowing education, health, employment, and your others. They call it others, but three are education, health, and employment, which are again related to purchasing power. So, basic thing is education. If you can really train your people with the skills that would render them not just employable, but they should be able to employ tomorrow, then this will happen. So the education needs transformation. And that's why our government gave a major push on NEP 2020. If you say NEP 2020 today, it talks of inclusiveness. It talks of education in the primary, secondary, higher education, fundamental education, which was missing. The previous governments have made up to 10th class examination not required. As a result, we were having 10th class pass boys who did not know even the tables of 4 and 5 and 6. We had people who had not even learned proper mathematical operations. We had people who could not read a book of Hindi or their mother tongue also. At least we have now come to a level that we are going to focus on making sure that a 5-year-old child or a 6-year-old child has got reading skills, mathematical skills, which is one of the fundamental requirements of early 2020. Vocational training. Why so much of focus in NEP 2020? For skill development. It is not essential that every child who does a BA or BCom should get a clerical job or some job in a bank or something. No. If you have got a vocational skill in that, today, with the skills what we have today in electronics or mechanical or agriculture or anything, he can earn much better or he can give employment to people. So vocational skills are being given a major push today. So the journey has started, my dear friend. This journey, if it continues, I'm sure this gap will reduce. And like we have jumped in the innovation index from 80 to 40, I'm sure we'll jump from 1 to 2 to maybe 40 tomorrow. But the time has to come, the efforts of all of us.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to request Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, please facilitate our chief guest with the bouquet and memento. Sorry, sure. Now I request Professor Devanand, Dean, School of Basic and Applied Science, please present the memento and shawl to our Honorable Vice Chancellor. Sir. Now I request one and all to please rise for national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाये तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे
So I thank one and all for your participation